name is Acrylic, aka Nika, and welcome to my channel. And this video is in response of all of you who wanted to know how to do this background. Kind of a stone carving background, which looks kind of cool with that kind of a knotted Celtic design behind her. I'm pretty sure I came up with that background entirely on my own. And it was quite a while ago, and I've only pretty much done it once, but I managed to remind myself what I did and how I did it. It's basically acrylic wash with Prismacolor pencils on top, so there's nothing terribly complicated about it. It's just a little bit fiddly, and you know, once you get going, it's going to be easy enough for you. And it's not just that sort of a background you can do with it. For example, you know, you could take a random Hannah Carson book and, I don't know, let's see, you could do a stone bug. You could do walls, kind of gravestones in cemetery with the same technique. You know, for example, I have Crook books here. You know, you could easily do all the walls that what looks like sort of a cell or, you know, shabby stone room. You could do it all with the black wash and with the same technique, just bring a couple of little details out. There's, you know, quite a lot of pages like this. You know, you could do that wall here, you know, push it back from the people standing in front of here. You could do some graveyard scenes with it. Do I have any immediately here? You could do the church behind him, like that. There's just so many ways you can use that technique, and once you get hang of it, it's quite simple. Well, for example, you know, that stone coffin could be easily done with the same technique. You need the line art to be pretty strong for it, otherwise you won't be able to see through the black wash, and the black wash needs to be pretty strong. So I'm going to show you the image we're going to do. That was also your suggestion, because I had already in the past put the black wash behind him, and I accidentally also painted over his axe twice because I had to put some more wash onto it. It wasn't dark enough, because it needs to be dark enough so you can, if I bring it close now, you can see the design through it, or whatever line art you want to turn into the stone. But it has to be quite dark so you can just see it, kind of borderline. So how do you do acrylic wash? So you can see here I've done, you know, I kind of practiced for myself. Can I still do it? And yes I can. So it's not that complicated. So how do you do it? Okay, so the paint I'm using is, well, I have been using quite a lot, and one of my favorite matte acrylic paints is Apple Barrel Matte Black. I find it very good black, and the pencils work on it very well. Apple Barrel paints are generally very good for pencils on top. So what are we going to do? I'm going to take you a little bit closer here. Just a second. Okay, we're now a little bit closer. So all we need is a little bit of paint. I'm going to put it here in the middle and give it a good shake before we start using it. Always a good idea, because if you haven't used it for some weeks, it kind of gets uneven, you know, parts of it are more liquid than others. So, and in this instance, you're going to put very little down here, like a drop, because we don't need much. It's just for demonstration purposes anyway. And I don't want to just waste the paint. And it covers also very well on its own, like this. It covers super well. And I was looking for some image, kind of a like PDF that I had printed out, and I can print out again, so I'm not wasting pages in a book. Or, you know, it kind of feels wrong to just, you know, paint a random image if I don't mean to do anything with it. But I can always print this one out again. And I need something that had strong line art, so I can actually demonstrate. So we're going to take this paint and add water to it. And this is all going to be trial and error now. You put too little into it, it's going to be too transparent and you'd have to do another coat. You put too much and it's going to just cover the line art totally and it'll be lost to you. So you're better off actually making it tiny bit too thin than making it too thick. Now this one now, from what I can kind of tell, I can demonstrate, would be, I'm going to wet the brush a little bit just to make it work better, will be a little bit like, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of like a cream consistency, heavy cream. So if you put that onto it, no, actually on this one, that is pretty much perfect. So kind of a heavy cream. You need to try every time because on every line art, it depends on the strength of the line art. But you need to be able to see the line art to the wash. Also take into account that it'll lighten when it dries. So while it looks quite dark now, once the water evaporates from it, because there's a lot of water now in that paint. Once first, you know, when you put it down, it looks super dark, but once you spread it out, and then you can kind of do back and forth, you know, it will look more even if you keep your brush moving very, very lightly. Don't press heavily on the brush. That's one of the mistakes a lot of people do when they put paint down. They just press too heavily on the paint, and then you get more of the brush lines. But if you keep your hand almost barely touching the paper like this and kind of almost flick, especially with a thin washes like this, you almost don't get brush lines. And of course, you know, if you go over it second time, then even if you had a little bit of a brush line here and there, they will disappear. And of course, for this technique, even if there are some brush lines here and there on the page or on the background, because of the intense pencil work we will do on the top, they won't really show. See how I'm, you know, doing kind of very, very light touch, keep the pens, you know, brush moving. And now if I take it close to you, it's a bit shiny, but you can see how the line art is just visible through the wash. And if it dries a little bit too light, sorry, then you can always take another coat of paint on top of it, darken it up, because you need the background, or you know, the wash to be pretty dark to do that technique. Otherwise the Prismacolor, the kind of a different lights and pastels just won't show up on it very well, you know, and the whole purpose will be defeated. Okay, so let's put this one away and let's get to the book, because I had already the background in there. I just wanted to show you how the wash, putting down the wash would work and what consistency of paint we're talking about here. It literally needs to be like cream. Back to our practice image. So what else do we need? And the answer is quite simple. A handful of Prismas, quite literally a handful. And the main thing to keep in mind is to have, probably the most important things, you have your black and your white Prisma. And then you have the lights, kind of all sorts of muted and pastels. I have here grey lavender, I have jade green, I have sky, oh god, sky blue light, I have ginger root, I have beige, rose beige, peach beige, sorry, peach beige. I keep saying rose beige for some reason. And I have something warm as well, so I used sand. I have Celadon green, I have beige, those are all the light tones I use for creating those highlighted bits here. And I'm using them, like, if you don't have some of them, it's not important. I keep varying them to keep the stone looking interesting. Not just have one tone all across the background. I use it. Here I might have used a little bit of sand and a little bit of kind of peach. Oh, I have peach as well, sorry. Just, your good old plain peach, even that one I've used here. Like I might have used a bit of a peach here, and then I've varied it to ginger root. And, like, just, keep changing them. I'll show you, of course, as I'm working. But yeah, the main thing is to kind of keep it varied all the time. So you can just keep changing. And whatever light Prismacolors you have, you can, if you want to, you can just do it in grays. Just, you have your range of French grays or cool grays or warm grays. You can just do the whole same thing, if you don't want the variations, if you want it to be very pushed back and very kind of a cold or, plain, just use grays. Same logic applies. So now and then you need for some kind of a toning pencils. I have here green ochre. I have here umber, the light umber. Just to give some extra boost, of color in some areas, a little bit. I don't know if I lift it closer to you, if you'll be able to see those variations of color. Not a single loop is exactly the same. I like it that way, but as you say, you might like it more uniform, in which case, just pick your colorway and do it all across the page. And then you need also kind of more mid-grays to act as a bridge between the black and all those light tones. But we start with white. We start with white, and I have to take you closer now, otherwise you won't see a thing, because it's hard to even see the line art, kind of show it here on the camera, but we'll try. Let's get you closer. Hopefully now you'll be able to see well. So how we work it first. First we need to establish basically the line art again, because we essentially took the line art out. So now we're taking the white pencil and we're establishing it. But wherever we see that the loop is going underneath something, we leave a millimeter or two between the area where another loop is going there, because we're going to shade there to make it look as if, this part is coming out from underneath this part here. And same way, this part is going underneath this loop. So I'm going to make it, start it a little bit before. And here as well, there's another loop here. If you happen to go close, don't matter, it doesn't really matter. It's just, kind of to make seeing things easier for you. But if you don't do it, there's always black, like black will go over anything. So, don't worry if you go too close to the line art. I just do it for my own convenience. I can see here, there's a loop. This one is going over here. I'm not going to do the whole page. I'm going to take kind of a like area of, there's a little something here. This one is also going over here. There's something that goes over there. This one is coming from underneath. Just kind of establish the line art for yourself, because you need to see what you're doing. And for that, you're using the white pencil. And sometimes if you're not sure, what's where, you just kind of make a decision for yourself. Okay, I want this loop to be kind of on top of the loop at the back. So I'm going to take it there, make a little distance here, so it's easy for me to see where something ends and starts. There's something here in the middle, so not really sure how it comes from, but it seems that this is coming from underneath here, this is coming from underneath here. Oh no, that's on top of this. There's something like this. This stops here, this loop comes over it, this loop comes over it, this one is from underneath there. Okay, so I think we're doing this corner, but also sometimes the line art doesn't really establish where things actually overlap. So you have to draw in the overlap. I'm trying to find a place like this, but I can't find it at the moment. But essentially, sometimes on the paper, let's see, we're taking this piece of paper, there's places like this where the line art doesn't really tell you which part goes over what, and you need that. So what you do is you take your white pencil, in this case it's black, and you make one of these to go over another part. It just looks better that way. Okay, so now we have the line art. We see where it is. It's kind of much easier now. Next thing, we take black. And we need black all through the working, but we put some initial layer down first, and we essentially put it where something is definitely coming out from underneath something. So this bit, okay, I should have established this bit better here. Definitely there. So this bit should be coming out from underneath here. Essentially put down the first deep shadows. You know, here the loop is going to be on front of the whole thing. So we're gonna put kind of like shadow down all around it. We might put, sometimes I put a little bit of shadow here, kind of the background as well, but most of the time I don't really bother much. And inevitably you will miss a couple of places where you should have put on the black. Well, I do usually. Not a problem. You can always go back, and you know, while you're working it, you will notice it and you can just put it in then. But I like to do the whole part I've outlined, kind of do that part first, because it kind of goes faster that way. And the first main shadows are down. Because once this is established, things will go, you know, much easier and faster afterwards. Then if you do it by loop, it's gonna drive you nuts. Now this loop is also in front of that one here, so we're going to put some black behind it. There's a little bit of that showing from underneath, so we're going to put black there, black all around it. The whole this thing is on top of the other loops. I have missed here some white, a little bit. I'm going to put some extra black here because there wasn't enough wash there. And just keep going like this all through the loops you have already outlined with white. And now we have the shadows down the way they are at the moment. And we're going to grab that handful of pencils. And I literally, what I do usually is that I'm holding them like this in my hand as a pile. And I'm going to keep grabbing them, and I'm trying to you know, one of the reasons why I keep them like this is it kind of keeps them random, that I don't get too organized about it. So let's see if I can, yeah, pull it down a bit. All right. And we can start, for example, with beige. So I'm going to put, starting here, so I'm going to put some beige into here and hold the pencil a little bit further away from the end of it, so you wouldn't work too controlled. And if you want it to look like stone, then don't kill all the texture. Don't go blending it all out, you know, kind of burnishing it into smooth. You don't want it to be too smooth. Let's see, we're going to take green, so that's cool gray, 20%, and we just keep adding them. Okay, and now I'm going to take one of the darker colors, which is warm gray 50, and I'm going to soften a little bit, kind of bridge it with the black. And I'm going to add some extra black to make sure that it's very, very clear that this thing is coming from underneath here. And, you know, see, this is how the loop works. Now I'm going to take jade green. And I'm going to put down some here. But I'm going to add some other colors there as well. But, you know, because this is the same loop here, I think it's coming like this. So I might, you know, sometimes I follow it like this, sometimes I don't. Like, not a problem if you get the loops all mixed up. It doesn't really matter. Nobody is going to take the finger and go like this, you know. Do they have exactly the same colorways? Well, I hope not, because that would be a bit excessive. I'm going to take peach. Just, you know, color variations here are a good thing, I think. Because natural stone as well, it doesn't just have, you know, one color. I'm going to take the peach beige again. That would be one of my favorites, in a very neutral. And what I'm trying to do, like, I'm lightening, I'm creating, but at the same time, I don't want to go too light. And now I feel that I might have gone a little bit maybe bright. So I'm taking one of the, in this case, I'm taking the light umber, and I'm adding something, you know, in some parts, something darker here as well, but, you know, careful with it. And now I'm taking a darker gray. So one of the, like this time it's a warm gray. Sorry, it's French gray 70%. I didn't even look which ones I grabbed some darker grays and I grabbed some lighter grays, you know, just to give variations. And you see, it's already happening. So it's not complicated. It's just, you know, takes a little bit of time because you keep changing things and, you know, playing with different tones. Like this time we're taking the French gray 50%, adding a little bit here because we already started that piece here. We're going to take the gray again. That's French gray 70%. Okay, and we're taking black again and deepening everything here, you know, so we would keep it in shadow. And then if you feel like, oh, I'm losing the kind of brightness, or, you know, where exactly something starts, you just go in with white and, you know, give a little bit extra to some edges, not to all of them and not everywhere, just, you know, just in some places. So it would feel a bit naturally rough and interesting. Okay, so let's take our ginger root And put ginger root here. It's a nice color. Always liked it. Ginger root, maybe a little bit of jade green, something a bit cooler here in this part. Now we're going to grab the, you can also take, instead of dark gray, let's take green ochre here and take it into dark with green ochre instead of gray. You know, it's all about kind of trying out different bits, and I'm also, you know, doing it that varied so you can see how many different combinations there are. You might just have, I don't know, 4 Prismacolor pencils, you know, 2 of them light, black, white, and maybe fifth one that is, you know, kind of a mid, kind of a gray or dark tone, and you can do this effect no problem. So it's not that, you know, complicated. It's just not very fast, but it's kind of meditative, you know. It's like, I don't know, it's a bit like coloring mandala, I guess, although I'm not big into coloring mandalas. I never get them right. I just can't get the colors right. I don't think I have the sense for them. Like, I look at other people's mandalas, you know, some of them beautifully shaded as well, and gorgeous color schemes, and they look elegant and sophisticated. And then, you know, there's some couple of mandalas I've made, they're like, yeah, that's sparkly. That's great. It's very sparkly. And that's about all good we can say about it. Now, and we need to now take it into gray, because it's getting quite, but that gray is still quite a bit lighter than the black, so you have this bridge here, and it also tones down the very bright parts. So just try not to kill the white line that is showing the other loop. Okay. Oh, that's actually part of this, so I should actually take in one of my lighter gray. In fact, that's Putty Beige. Yeah, sorry. I'm going to take the Putty Beige and accentuate that bit here a bit, because this is going to be on top of that, so we want it to show. Now, and once again, it's getting too close to the line without having a good shadow, so I'm going to bring some gray in there. And I'm going to take my good old Prisma black and push it out a bit. Sometimes you can do kind of flicking also. Okay. And now let's go for this loop. So what colors are we going to take? Could just as well pick something random. There was something cool here, so let's put something warm here. We're literally taking peach. Maybe I went a bit too intense with it, but it's easy to tone down with a bit of gray afterwards. And as you can see, I'm not trying to burnish it. I'm not trying to get it smooth, because the texture is half of the interest here in the background. This is what makes it look like it's stone. So if you know, kind of burnish it down very smoothly, it doesn't look like kind of a stone anymore. And I'm making kind of like interesting, the country stone, whereas you can do, you know, something really severe like granite. And, you know, as I said, just use grays. You know, you don't have to put the colors in. But I just, you know, felt a bit like it. I think it looks a bit more fun. And they're very subtle, those color variations. And then now I want to kind of tone down that peach a little bit, because it does look a bit too peach, if that's such thing is happening. So I'm going to take that cool, oh, that's, sorry, warm gray 50%. And I'm just going to cool it slightly. Just with a slight layer on top of it, you still have that peach undertone. Now it's not as overwhelming anymore. It might be possible to do it with other pastel pencils as well. I might actually give it a try, you know, when I'm maybe somewhere there, just a test. Out of curiosity, as I talked about, I grabbed some pencils from the Brutfuner pastels or macaron set, and it's Shepp Pink, Cork, Sea Fog, Beige, and Ash Rose. And we'll see and try if it would work with these as well. I genuinely haven't done it, so it might be a fail, but won't know unless I try. Oh yeah, you can do it. The only thing is that you won't have the same choice of grays there, so you're better off still going and using Prisma grays. But you know, definitely the pastel tones you can, I suspect, to take from any pastel set. It's obviously not as juicy as Prismacolor, but in a way it's more controllable because of that. So I actually, let me grab something warmer as well here from this set. Maybe Naples Yellow. Possibly too yellow, but we can always tone it down. You know, kind of warm up some bits. But yeah, it's totally doable with these ones as well. So I'd say any pastel set you have, I presume Castle Arts, you know, there's several of them that can be totally used in doing the same effect, as long as you don't go trying to burnish them. And now I'm taking this kind of a mid-gray, or you know, it is literally mid-gray. It's a warm gray 50% from Prismacolor set, or possibly some other set that has good selection of grays. Polychromos comes to mind. Although you need fairly kind of a opaque pencil here, so Polychromos possibly isn't a good, but Chromaflow definitely would work here, and also opaque pencil. Luminance would work here. You know, there's quite a lot of pencils that would totally be okay for this work. Flicking in, and I have forgotten these bits here, so let's put Shepp Pink in here. And for variation, let's put in, what do you call it? Cork. And you know, if you look them like this, on a kind of a very gentle layer on the black, it doesn't seem like they're that different, but trust me, the variation is there. And a bit of Ash Rose. And then I'm going to take one of the kind of mid-tones, or kind of earth tones I kept here to keep things getting too pastel-y and too bright, because they obviously can't be. It's stone. And also it's important, you know, that the background, the actual texture of the wash is showing through. It would be totally possible to blend it out. It just would defeat the purpose, in my mind anyway. Okay, and also kind of toning it down. That is French Gray 50%, just to take some brightness out of it. And here it is, the stone background. It's kind of hard a bit to show because of the shine of the light, because it's evening and I don't have natural light here. But, you know, hopefully I explained it well enough. It's always a good idea to just do all the white outlines first, then the black shadows to, you know, decide which parts are underneath what parts. And then just take pencils one by one, you know, keep adding this here, 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 you know, take next one, add it, and keep doing that until, you know, you have random places, random pencils in random places if you want to use several colors like I did. And then just take one of the darker kind of a mid grays and even out the tones, you know, go over two bright areas with right layer of gray, you know, make a bridge between black and the lighter parts. And then at the end, you should probably deepen the shadows again, because all the light colors now that you put there have kind of killed the shadows a bit. So you put more shadows in. And then if you feel like it, you can always, you know, oh, I want more highlight here. Just go in with white a little bit and add little highlights here and there, just to make it look more effective. Hopefully that, you know, worked for you. I would love to see you try it out. I would love to hear your comments, what you think of it. If you like my channel, please like and subscribe so YouTube will keep offering you my videos. I hope you're gonna have a good evening or day or morning, whatever time it is in your corner of the world. Hopefully I'll see you soon on my channel, and bye bye.